Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced, blockbuster podcast, Coffee with Carib Carter, coming to you exclusively from where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, fill up your favorite coffee mug and join your expert and your guide, Carib Carter Clues.
Hi, and welcome to Coffee with Carib Carter. Okay, let me get the cup up here. Right, I hope you've got your coffee. Don't forget you can get delicious Honduran coffee at legacyofhopecoffee.com. And when you do, you're helping to support very, very needy children in Honduras. And the coffee is delicious. The coffee is absolutely, my wife and I drink it every morning. Hefty, hot, and hearty, as they used to say. So this episode of Coffee with Carib Carter is going to be one of the most unique. I am calling it, let me get my picture and sound effects here. See if I can coordinate this, okay? Here we go. Ready? This is Carib Carter at the Bijou. There we go. Because we have not one, not two, but 5 videos for you today. Every one of them you're going to love, especially the long one with me and the folks toward the end of the show. So we have a quadruple feature, and you're going to see a lot of interactivity between me and our super producer, Brian. Brian, you want to show your face here so they'll know who I'm talking. There we go. There's that beautiful man.
You may not want that to happen if you want viewers to stay around. I know what you're doing. You're trying to make them flee the country, not leave voluntarily.
That's right, folks. When you buy your home offshore in Central and South America, you can get away from Brian. There we go. So another added to the sound. All right, we're going to be interactive. I'm going to be calling up videos. Okay,
right. Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain. Let me explain why. The purpose of today's show. If you have been following me on Carib Carter Facebook or Rumble, you have noticed that I have been posting a lot about what I call the Offshore Club Friendship Village concept. So let me briefly explain what it is, and it'll help put these videos I'm going to be showing you into context. The fact of the matter is, because of the internet, you are able, if we do things right for you at the Offshore Club, you're able to actually live vicariously, okay, live virtually in any country throughout Central and South America. It's all a matter of your Offshore Club bringing you the information, and more important than that, the videos you need to actually see what's going on there. Because I get a lot of messages from you all now, folks, and please keep them coming. Carib Carter7 at gmail.com, Carib Carter7, the number 7 at gmail.com, where you write to me often and say, okay, how about what's it like in Colombia? What's it like in Guatemala? How about if I move to Uruguay or Paraguay or Honduras? Honduras is obviously the easiest for me to answer because I have 2 homes there, and I lived there a year, and my wife is Honduran. So if I don't know, I can just
makes sense to me. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, and our super producer Brian has met her, and
yes,
lovely. And you're actually going to see her in our video later when I show you the Friendship Village concept illustrated for you.
Good.
So the idea is this. I know from the message that I get from you all that your biggest concern is what's it like there, and a lot of times you're feeling, I know in your heart it is, but I don't know anybody there, and I can relate to that, and I'll tell you why. My dad was a minister, as I've told you before, and so back in the days when I was a kid, a long time ago, because a week from yesterday I turned 75, okay, which I'm very proud of. It's a hell of an accomplishment.
Wait, did I miss your birthday?
No,
a week from next week.
From yesterday. It's next week.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm obviously very proud of that. And just to survive that long, for Pete's sake, especially in my case, and raised in Baldwin, the mean streets of Baltimore. But we moved back in those days. Methodist ministers moved about every 5 to 7 years. And as a little kid, I can remember saying to my dad, "Why do we have to move? Because I don't even know anybody there, right?" And so I understand that. And so the purpose of Friendship Village, this concept that's going to be part and parcel of Offshore.club, your offshore club, will be to actually introduce you to people who will tell you what it's really like to live there. So you will actually walk the streets.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Brian, it's their chance to actually say, okay, let's go in and out of the coffee shops. Let's stop down to the fresh fruit stand. Let's see what it's really like. Okay.
Yeah,
and so you're going to see those every day now at Offshore.club, these great videos. And you've already seen a couple of them because we've been experimenting with it. And today I want to show you 4 examples. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just not show you the entire video. The videos, it can run anywhere from 6 minutes to some of them are half an hour or more, but we're just going to show you 2 to 3 minute excerpts of each video to give you an idea of what we're talking about. The idea of you actually being there online, okay, in anticipation of one day being there on purpose. On purpose.
Definitely on purpose. Yes. There's no question there.
And in person, okay. So we have 4 for you, and then we're going to go to my longer video, which is really lays it out for you in a way that I think you're going to enjoy. I hope you're going to enjoy, and I hope it's abundantly clear. So, Brian, let's start out with Ronan Blue. Ronan Blue is one of my favorite. Now, he travels the world, okay? And what Ronan Blue does when he travels the world is he gives you a report. He stays in these places, and he does a video and showing you what it's like in these exact places that we're helping you find homes in, okay? Again, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Belize, wherever. And I like the guy, and he's very, very good. One day we'll actually interview him. But let me show you what I mean, because you're going to start seeing more of these videos. All right, roll an excerpt if you don't mind, Brian, of Ronan Blue.
The coastlines surround both sides of the country, so enjoying the seaside is plentiful to swim, surf, and eat fresh seafood. There are rainforests as well that you can explore by hiking, and you can also explore volcano sites. There are also multiple different islands to explore as well. Number 10, environment and climate. One of the advantages of living in Nicaragua would be that it's described as being untouched by tourists. It has the rainforest, the beaches, but mostly unspoiled because there's so little tourism in this country. There are unexplored islands with lots of volcanoes and rainforest areas. It makes it an untouched gem. There's also an average temperature of about 75 degrees Fahrenheit all year. The daylight and ocean breezes make it a perfect place to relax.
There you go, folks. That is Ronan Blue's 10 best reasons to retire in Nicaragua. Wasn't that great? He actually saw. It wasn't just some guy sitting there talking. Yeah, he actually showed you what it's like there. And by the way, Nicaragua is one of the best places to live in all of Central America now. Incredible prices, third to a quarter of what you're paying to live in the U.S. now. More freedom. I'm just telling you, there's more freedom. You don't have the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Homeland, DHS. They don't have all that. They can't afford it, so they don't have it. So you can breathe freer, okay? Breathe freer, much lower cost of living, and an incredibly low crime rate in Nicaragua. Great place to live. So there you have it, Ronan Blue's 10 best reasons. You're going to see a lot more of Ronan Blue at your offshore club in the weeks and months to come. Okay, now let's take a look at Sergio Sala next. Sergio Sala talks about living in Guatemala as a digital nomad. You know, you can live there and you can work because you can work offline now. And Sergio does a darn good job of explaining it and showing you a little bit of Guatemala. So, Brian, let's take a look at Sergio.
Last year, I visited Guatemala. I wanted to see how well adapted it is for digital nomads. So I spent some days working online and traveling between antique city vibes, cute coffee shops, friendly people, and gorgeous views. So here's my review of the nomad lifestyle on the main cities of this country. Straight from the airport, I arrived to Antigua and stayed in the Selena Hotel. This place is beautiful as its old aesthetic has been preserved. I like the location, its vibrant community, and especially the co-working space. It has reliable Wi-Fi, close to 24 megabytes per second, which is enough for my online work.
Okay, okay.
Thank you. Cheers.
Enjoy your guate.
With many pubs and restaurants, this city is very well active at night, and there are many breweries in town like this one. So Antigua is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where cobblestone streets are lined with low buildings painted in different shades of colors. Basically, it's beautiful. And there's always people walking around, downtown is always active, and of course, there are always street vendors trying to sell you something. And there are gorgeous ruins of cathedrals and monasteries that were taken down by earthquakes centuries ago, and so they are scattered throughout the main grid of the city, and you can see all of them anytime you want.
Sharp guy, very, very sharp guy. You're going to get to know Sergio well. These people are going to become your friends and neighbors, okay? And we're going to try and help you be in contact with them. And let me add here, and I'm going to say it again repeatedly, we're also going to be interviewing people who live in places like Grand Pacifica in Nicaragua, who live there, who have homes there. Graham Bayman in Belize. La Ceiba Beach Club, where I just bought my home that I've told you about 1,001 times, right? In Honduras. The ECI development up in Panama, up in Boquete. If you're like me and you love mountains and cold evenings and all more than the beach, even though I just bought a beach home, I like that. Boquete is perfect. The homes have fireplaces, okay? Fantastic. So you're going to meet people who live there, and we'll tell you about what it's like to live there. So in addition to these videos like we're showing you now, you're going to have me interviewing people who live there, sitting down and having coffee with them, and you'll get to know them too, okay? So let's look at two of my favorite people now. Two of my very favorite. I really like them a lot. They do a great job. I've watched a lot of their videos. We've posted their videos on the Offshore Club. Amelia and JP. Amelia, I'm going to get it right. Amelia and JP live in Ecuador, okay? And so here's one of their videos that I really enjoy, and I think you're going to like a lot. It's called $500 a month, cost of living for low-budget expats in Ecuador, okay? I think you're going to like these two people. So let's roll it, Brian.
More expensive.
So in this video, we're going to show you what life is like with a lower budget and answer a question we see a lot. Can you really live in Ecuador for $500 a month?
All right, before we dive in though, if you're considering moving to Ecuador or even just visiting here, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell so you get notified about our next videos, because we show you what it's really like to live in Ecuador.
Now let's look at a possible monthly budget for someone who wants to live in Ecuador for $500 a month. And keep in mind, this is for one person. If there's two of you, it will not be double the cost, but you will have an increase in healthcare and food costs.
Yes. All right, Amelia, let's dive in.
Okay.
We're going to start with housing, and you can definitely rent in Ecuador for $300 a month or less.
Yes. An extremely affordable option is to stay at a hostel or rent a private room with a shared kitchen and bath. We had a friend who did that, and she lived in an area in Cuenca and spent about $110 a month, and she really enjoyed living with her family, plus she mastered Spanish.
Yeah, she became totally fluent in Spanish very quickly by living with a Spanish-speaking family, and her room was super nice. She had a corner room with windows that wrapped around and beautiful views of the mountains. The downside, though, is that she had to share a bathroom and the kitchen with the family. She had a tiny little area in the refrigerator for her food.
It's also a nice option if you're single and you're concerned about your safety.
Yeah, and it was in a nice area right by the 12 de Abril Mercado, kind of on the eastern side of Cuenca. If you want to rent your own place, you have 3 different options: furnished, unfurnished, and semi-furnished. And there is a big difference between each of those. With furnished, you get everything, including linens, towels, the kitchenware like pots and pans and silverware. With semi-furnished, you get appliances only, nothing else in the house, no furniture. With unfurnished, you get nothing, nada, no appliances, no refrigerator, no nothing. Sometimes you don't even have lights.
That's true.
So you have to provide everything. If you're gonna rent a place that's unfurnished, you really need to ship a container or budget several $1,000s to buy all of your appliances and furniture once you get here.
You can do that on the cheap though, because there are consignment stores that sell used goods, and a lot of people have moving sales and sell basically everything they own.
There are other options for renting furnished places that are less expensive. We had some friends that rented a place for around $300 a month in El Centro in Cuenca. It was a 1-bedroom, didn't have windows, it had a skylight and one staircase that went over the neighbor's kitchen down below. So not exactly the safest option, but it was a very affordable place right in the heart of El Centro. Yep. So it was conveniently located and it was nicely finished.
There are other low-cost areas outside of Cuenca, such as Paute and Azogues. Both are about 45 minutes away from Cuenca, and I believe Paute has an expat community.
You might need a car in those places, but the buses do run between the cities, and I think it's like $1.50. It's actually really cheap to take a bus between those areas.
Other inland or low-cost options that are not on the coast are areas outside of Quito, such as Otavalo, Ibarra, and Cotacachi.
Yeah, those areas are much more affordable, especially in terms of rent and food. You're going to spend a lot less.
There are some low-cost options for rentals here on the coast, and we did an affordable beach rentals tour, which we'll link right up here if you guys want to check that out. One of the places we featured was the Casita in Las Nunez, and that rents for $350 a month.
So it might be a little bit above your budget, but it's also on the beach. So if you move a little bit further away from the beach, you're going to find more affordable options that are small like that. Most of the places we featured in that video were a little bit bigger and closer to the beach. The next thing we're going to...
Great couple, just a great couple who live the life. I mean, all of these people that we're bringing to you, and we're going to bring to you more and more now at your Offshore Club every day and in your Offshore Club Gazette. We put a little ad there. Don't forget, if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe to the Offshore Club Gazette. Absolutely free. The best offshore newsletter on the internet. The very, very best. It'll arrive in your email every day with videos like these, great stories, everything you need to know. Everything you need to know to help you make your move, which I urge you to do, because you're going to love living the good life at a great price, as we say, in the sun, the sand, and the surf in Central and South America. All right, we have one more of our Meet Your New Friends Friendship Village concept videos, the Eternal Expat. Okay, and you have an advantage because you already have a friend. His is called 10 Best Places to Live in Mexico in 2021. You have an advantage as a regular Coffee with Carib Carter cadre member in that you already have a good friend in Mexico, James Manship. We've interviewed him, I think, 3 times. Going to interview him again, hopefully next week. Going to see a lot more interviews with James at Offshore, at your Offshore Club, offshore.club. Delightful person, absolutely delightful. So you already really do have a good friend in Mexico. Lake Chilapa, you recall that? What a great life he lives there, right? For a fraction of the money that you'd expect anybody to pay for the kind of luxury he has there. So, but here's another one for you. Here's another new friend you're going to make, the Eternal Expat. So, Brian, let's roll this 10 Best Places to Live in Mexico 2021.
Let's start with the beach towns. So a new addition to the list is Sayulita. You guys, I am in love with Sayulita. If you haven't seen my videos from that trip that I went on in October, I'll link to them here. It was like the sanest I felt in 2020. It's a town that is so beautiful. It has so much good food. There are so many beaches and hikes. It's got a real mixture of people. There were Argentinians there, and there were Americans and Canadians and Europeans, and it just felt like this really, I don't know, like an escape. So I understand why a lot of people live there. I did try to find a place there in December, but it was just a little out of my price range. It's certainly more expensive than some of the other beach towns that I've lived in the past. But if my budget was a little higher, I would without a doubt call Sayulita home. It's such a beautiful part of Mexico. I fell in love. And I also really love San Pancho, which is like just up the road from Sayulita. I understand why people prefer that to Sayulita. And I know just along the whole Riviera Nayarit is just such a beautiful part of Mexico. I will definitely be returning there, if not for longer periods of time, maybe in 2022 for a place to live. The next beach town city on the list is one that I got to know somewhat well in December, and that is Mazatlan. I think it is such a cool city. I can't believe it's taken me so long to go there. It's so beautiful. The beaches are incredible. The city is so well set up. The Centro Histórico has such beautiful buildings. And then as you head sort of along the coastline, the Malecon, what a great place to exercise, to ride bikes. The beach along that area is so beautiful. And then as you head out of the town, there's more beaches. It's just endless. There's islands for hiking and camping. The food is incredible. The seafood is amazing. So yeah, I highly recommend adding that to your list if you're thinking about beach towns. It's super affordable as well in comparison to other beach towns that I've been to. We paid $350 a month for rent while we were there, and we stayed in a place that was right in the centro and really close to everything. It wasn't super high end or anything crazy, but it had absolutely everything we needed. All bills were included. So yeah, I imagine that if you're looking for long-term rent in Mazatlan, you can definitely get yourself a bargain.
All right, there you have it. 4 of the kinds of videos that you're going to see more and more on at Offshore.club. Every day you're going to see them at the website. You're going to see them in the Offshore Club Gazette. Because again, over and over you say to me, how do we know what it's like to live there? I wish I knew somebody. You're going to know somebody there. You're going to know somebody there. You're going to know these people whose videos you just saw, because we're going to have a lot of their videos. I mean, Amelia and JP to me are just people I'd love to have as neighbors in Ecuador, where, by the way, the cost of living is rock bottom and very, very high quality. Okay, as they make clear in that video we just watched. You're going to see the complete versions of all those videos we just excerpted for you at offshore.club, along with, and I want to emphasize this, interviews with people who live in each of the countries throughout Central and South America. So you won't be a stranger. I remember, again, going back when I was a kid, before we moved to Baltimore City, where I really grew up, but it was a little kid. We lived in a little town called Williamsport, Maryland. One day Dad announced we're moving to Hancock, Maryland. I remember I was playing in the dirt with trucks and cars. That's how long ago it was. 70 years almost. And I remember saying to him, all my friends are here in Williamsport. Unfortunately, he was very, very sage man, very kind. He said, Carter, believe me, you'll make new friends. Well, what we want to do is help you make the new friends before you make the move. Okay, that's the whole concept of Friendship Village. You're part of an online village now. And that village will include communities, La Ceiba in Honduras, Malaga in Nicaragua, but as I said, Boquete in Panama, all these little villages, Montevideo in Uruguay. You see what I'm saying? Actually be there. You're going to be there because you're going to be sitting down and watching my interviews and being at the table with us, or walking through the fruit market or the fish market, whatever, with the people who live there, who are telling you, welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome to the neighborhood. At first, Friendship Village, your online neighborhood, and hopefully, eventually, your own neighborhood up close and in person, because you'll be there with them, okay? And you'll already know them. What a wonderful treat that is. What a wonderful treat that is. And to show you, kind of illustrate it for you, and I hope this works, and I want to do I did a video for you, okay? Some of you know, let me plug in I forgot to plug in my power cord. There we go. Thank you. Now you don't have to worry about me disappearing. But some of you know, who follow me on Carib Carter, almost every day I do a video for you from a place called Riverbend Park. Okay. And my wife and I own a home there. It's a residential resort community way up in the hills and rivers of West Virginia. I remember one of them, I told you I was out in the woods, and I said, the nice thing about here in Riverbend Park, I was really in the woods. It's 400 acres and 1,700 homes. I get into it all the video. I'm not used to my repeating again here. But I said, occasionally run into a rattlesnake, but you don't run into politicians up here because they don't like politicians up here in the hills of West Virginia. And if I have my choice between the two, I much prefer the rattlesnakes. Okay. So that's Riverbend Park. And it actually is a lovely community. And what I've done is with Angelita driving our golf cart. Everybody has a golf cart. It's not a senior community. Just everybody has a golf course, 26 miles of roads, river roads along the river throughout the community. But with her driving, I take you on a tour, okay? Because it personifies the whole friendship village concept. The idea that you become friends and neighbors with like-minded people, okay? Everyone at Riverbend Park is like-minded. They are there to enjoy life, to sit down, have coffee with each other. Twice in the past week, people stopped by and stayed for an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's it. And that's what you're going to find in these Central and South American countries. And first in your friendship village, and then in your real villages that one day I hope and pray you make your move to. So super producer Brian, let's roll this video. It's about 10 minutes, folks, but I think you're going to enjoy it. And it's pretty fascinating. And you're going to see some things that are going to surprise you. But keep in mind, the whole purpose is to show you, imagine having this kind of closeness, this kind of unity online that you see at this Riverbend Park close-knit community, because your friendship village is going to be an incredibly close-knit community. You're going to get to know these people. So let's roll this illustrative, hopefully, video, Brian. I'm going to take you on a tour, a unique tour, of what hopefully you understand became the inspiration for Offshore Club's Friendship Village, where I want all of you to be able to live in 10 different countries throughout Central and South America, vicariously at first, and eventually in person, but you're going to make your friends first vicariously, because we're going to start talking to all of them over the weeks and months ahead, okay? So let me show you what inspired this concept, if I may. You see behind me here? See that gorgeous swimming pool there? That is part of what's known as, and now I'm going to start your tour. That's what's known as the Riverbend Park swimming facility, all right? Now we're going to take a tour of Riverbend Park, because it is a real life friendship village, all right? A real life friendship village. And my wonderful wife, Angelita, there we go, is going to be our, hi everyone, is going to be the chauffeur, and I'm going to be your guide, all right? I'm going to be your guide. And what you're going to see is, now some may say, I think it's a glorified a trailer park. And I always laugh and tell people, yeah, that's a glorified trailer park, okay? Now, here's what's fascinating. This glorified trailer park is the friendliest place on earth. 1,500 homes. The one rule here is you have to have a trailer on your property, but you're soon going to see that some of these properties, the trailer is not even distinguishable, okay? And as you see it, I want you to also keep something in mind. There are 1,500 homes, 400 acres, a lot of it woodland, as you're about to see, and 26 miles of roads, okay? But what brings it all together is it is a friendship village. It's a place where people like each other. There's one of the security people there. They're not like the federales in America now who are always out to bang on your door and drag you. They don't do that. They just go there, make sure you're happy, everything okay, and everything is, trust me. So we're going down now to watch these places now as we go, okay? Because you're going to see something unique here, but keep in mind, it's a friendship village, just like your Offshore Club friendship village is going to be. The only difference is this one is you're up front. Look at this. Look at these homes. Look at that. Yeah. Well, there's got to be a trailer in there somewhere because that's the rule. And look at this. Look at this. Okay. What makes this unique is the friendliness, the neighborliness. I'll tell some people it's kind of like living in Mayberry. Those of you old enough to remember the Andy Griffith show, Mayberry. Well, that's what this is like, and that's what your Offshore Club Friendship Village is going to be, because day after day, week after week, month after month, I'm going to introduce you to people who live there. I'm going to interview them, and I'm going to get their names and their contact information, so that one purpose in mind, so that you can get to know them. Look at this. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. Okay. All right, now we're heading down. Now Angelina's driving us down to the West River Road, where you're going to see some places that I think are going to be pretty surprising to you, okay? Just like you're going to see at your Friendship Village at Offshore Club, where you're going to meet the residents, where it says whether it's at Vista Bonita in Honduras, La Ceiba Beach Club in Honduras, Grand Pacifica in Nicaragua, Grand Bayman. Let's turn it around this way. Now remember, all of this is on a peninsula going out into the Potomac River, okay? Up next, start to see off in the distance. There you go. A lot of the people we're going to interview live in beachfront communities on the ocean in Central America. Whether it's Honduras, whether it's further south in Colombia, in Panama, okay? The Grand Pacific, as I said, in Nicaragua. Okay, now you're starting to look at these homes, and you're realizing, well, that's a pretty fancy home. You know why it's a pretty fancy home? Like second Angelina, if you don't mind. This one here, folks, that one there, you're talking about a home that's worth upwards of $800,000, okay? Because we are friends with the owner there. And look at this. Here, right on the ocean, all of it, everything, look over here, you see? Again, remember why I'm showing you all this. Another friend of ours, Kenny there, okay? If you saw the inside of that home right there, now right now you're saying, I don't see a trailer. Well, no, of course you don't. And if you saw the inside, you'd swear there is no trailer there, but the rule says there's got to be. See all this? Now, again, let me emphasize, this is a riverbank park in West Virginia. It's a friendship village where the people are friends. They take care of each other. They watch out for each other. Look at this beautiful home. My wife did some seamstress work. Where Kate, who lives there, it's right there with the curtains. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And look at the woods on the other side of it. Look at this. Folks, all of this, I hasten to add, all of this is what you're soon going to have. I wish you could all move to Riverbend Park, but I'm afraid it's pretty well filled up. 1,600 homes, 15 already filled up, but there's plenty of room for you to live in Central and South America. There's beautiful countries down there, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, Paraguay, Uruguay. They're all going to be part of your new friendship village. Okay, well you are, I promise, you are going to get to know the people, because I'm going to be interviewing them day after day. They're going to tell you what life is like there, and then you make your choice as to which community you want to live in, okay? You're going to be living in them, as I said, vicariously online in the wired world with Offshore Club. You're going to be living in them because they're going to invite you to their homes, And eventually you make your decision as to which one you want to move to. Look at these homes here. Look at these homes. All friendly people living together. See the Potomac, the early Potomac off in the distance here. Look at this, folks. Look at this home here. Okay? Look at that home. Yeah. So that is thanks to the wonderful chauffeuring of my wife Angelita, whom you've met before. That is your guided tour of a on land in the U.S. friendship village. This is really what it is. But we're going to have them all over on Offshore.club, Central and South America. Let me pull up here a second. I want to show you one more view here. That this is the look at the could anything be more placid than that? Look at that. Well, believe it or not, folks, that is all over Central and South America at prices I'm going to say at a tenth of what you would pay up here. And you live there, and these people, you're going to find out over the weeks and months ahead as I continue to interview them, are going in the Offshore.club's Friendship Village, just like they'd be here at the Riverbend Park Friendship Village if you actually lived here. These are going to be your friends, and eventually, when you decide, I'm sold, I like it, now I know what life is like down there. I've been talking to the people that live there. They're my friends now, and eventually you're going to be part of that village. In whatever country you choose, whatever area you choose, you're going to be part of that village because you're going to have known all about it, and you're going to decide that is where I want to make my move. So let's do this thing. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed shooting it, because I got to be honest with you. This residential resort community is only open, Riverbend Park, from April 1st and November 1st. And my wife and I spend every possible moment we can up there, because it really is like going back in time before the politicians started destroying everything in sight in the U.S., okay? You're way up in the hills of West Virginia, and they ain't big on politicians, as I said. So I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed doing it, and as Angelita did. I'm glad you got a chance to see her and meet her. But keep in mind, the reason I'm showing it to you is that feeling of closeness, that feeling of community is what you're going to now have with your Offshore Club's new Friendship Village concept. Every day, we're going to bring you interviews and video interviews and video reports from the communities, from real communities throughout Central and South America. So you'll have no more question what it's really like, because you will see what it's really like. You'll see it. And as you just did with the video I just did for you, my Riverbend Park, you'll feel it. You can feel it. You can feel it, right? And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. It's going to make your transition so much easier. You're going to be reaching for your passport. Okay. I just guarantee it. All right. And then to help you reach for the passport, all the more, I told you I had a quadruple before. So I don't know, the quintuple, whatever it is, feature for videos for you today. Your final video. I always like to leave you on something that's kind of inspiring, motivational. As you know, I love David Goggins. I've showed you some of those. Jocko Willink. I have one today from Jordan Peterson. Some of you I know are already saying, man, well, of course we love Jordan Peterson. I like Jordan Peterson. I've watched some of the stuff, not as much as I should have, because I like more gung-ho stuff. But nonetheless, this one is very, very good. It's entitled A Powerful Secret to Unlocking Your Potential. Because I know your potential. I know your potential. Your potential is to live the good life at a great price. Your potential is to enjoy yourself as you've never enjoyed yourself before. Leave these shackles, and they are increasing, and they're going to get worse in this country. Leave the shackles behind. The politicians are not going to stop. They're the new laws, new rules, new regulations everywhere. Let me give you an example. here in York, I'm in York, Pennsylvania right now. My wife and I have a home here. For the entire month of July, it was against the law to feed the birds in your backyard. And you're saying, Carter, come on, you make this stuff up. No, that's where anything to, what I always tell you, politicians come to you with the thumbs down and the palm up. Where's my palm? There it is. Telling you what you can't do, or maybe if you pay us enough, we might let you do it. Taxes are rising. Biden has a new green book program out that's going to send your taxes through the ceiling. Inflation, they're printing $120 billion a month now. And with every dollar they print, fiat money, that dollar you have in your wallet goes down in value. Look, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't want it. You don't need it. What you do, I think, need, because we all need it occasionally, is that motivation to say, all right, let's unlock the key to my potential, because I want to live well. I've worked hard. I deserve to live well. Hey, I'm 75. I'm not cashing in my chips yet. I intend to live another 25 years. My granddad Marciano did. And I want you to live your life to the fullest too. So let's take a look at what Jordan Peterson tells us about how you can help make sure you do that, because it'll help you make your move offshore. Let's roll it, Brian.
Hey, so I figured something out that I thought I'd tell you about. This took me like 30 years to figure out, and I figured it out on this tour. So there's this old idea, you know, that you have to rescue your father from the belly of the whale, right? From some monster that's deep in the abyss. You see that in Pinocchio, for example, but it's a very common idea. And I figured out why that is, I think. So imagine that we already know from a clinical perspective that, you know, if you set out a path towards a goal, which you want to do because you need a goal and you need a path, because that provides you with positive emotion, right? So you set up something as valuable, so that implies a hierarchy. You set up something as valuable. You decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice, because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that. And then you experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. And so the implication of that is that the better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. So that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. Okay, so you do that, and then what you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that you have to accomplish that frighten you. You know, maybe you have to learn to be a better speaker, a better writer, a better thinker, or you have to be better to people around you, or you have to learn some new skills and you're afraid of that, whatever, because it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges. Okay, so all the clinical data indicates, well, the opposite of safe spaces, as Jonathan Haidt has been pointing out, that what you want to do when you identify something that someone is avoiding that they need to do because they're afraid, you have them voluntarily confront it. And so you break it down. What you try to do, if you're a behavior therapist, is you break down the thing they're avoiding into smaller and smaller pieces until you find a piece that's small enough so they'll do it. And it doesn't really matter, as long as they start it, you know, then they can put the next piece on and the next piece. And what happens is they don't get less afraid exactly, they get braver. They get it's like there's more of them. And here's why. So imagine you do something new, and that's informative, right? There's information in the action, and then you can incorporate that information and turn it into a skill and turn it into a transformation of your perceptions. So there's more to you because you've tried something new. So that's one thing. But the second thing is, and there's good biological evidence for this now, that if you put yourself in a new situation, then new genes code for new proteins and build new neural structures and new nervous system structures. Same thing happens to some degree when you work out, right? Because your muscles are responding to the load, but your nervous system does that too. So you imagine that there's a lot of potential you locked in your genetic code. And then if you put yourself in a new situation, then the stress, that's the situational stress that's produced by that particular situation, unlocks those genes and then builds new parts of you. And so that's very cool, because who knows how much there is locked inside of you. Okay, so now here's the idea. So let's assume that scales as you take on heavier and heavier loads. That more and more of you get more and more informed because you're doing more and more difficult things, but more and more of you gets unlocked. And so then what that would imply is that if you got to the point where you could look at the darkest things, so that would be the abyss, right? That would be the deepest abyss. If you could look at the harshest things, like the most brutal parts of the suffering of the world and the malevolence of people and society, if you could look at that straight and directly, that would turn you on maximally. And so that's the idea of rescuing your father, because imagine that you're like the potential composite of all the ancestral wisdom that's locked inside of you biologically. But that's not going to come out at all unless you stress yourself, unless you challenge yourself. And the bigger the challenge you take on, the more that's going to turn on. And so that as you take on a broader and broader range of challenges and you push yourself harder, then more and more of what you could be turns on, and that's equivalent to transforming yourself into the ancestral father. Because you're like what would you call it? You're the consequence of all these living beings that have come before you. And that's all part of your biological potentiality. And then if you can push yourself, then all of that clicks on, and that turns you into who you could be. That's the re-representation of that positive ancestral father. So that's why you rescue your father from the belly of the beast.
Ready? So there you have it, folks. Today's special edition of Carib Carter at the Bijou. And by the way, I remember those cars. What? Yeah, I do. Carib Carter at the Bijou. Those videos taking you down there live and in person day after day now at your Offshore Club. I'll feature more of them on caribcarter.com. Coffee with Carib Carter and on Carib Carter Facebook. Okay. So we're going to make this whole Friendship Village concept very real to you. So by the time you make your move, there'll be their friends waiting on shore to welcome you home. So, as we always say on Coffee with Carib Carter, let's do this thing.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us at the Offshore Club. For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Carib Carter, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.